What's going on, you guys? So there's a new tournament kit that just got announced yesterday for Star Wars Armada Organized Play, otherwise called OP Kits. And this one I think was a little overdue. It should have kind of come out already. But, it looks like they're giving us TIE Phantom Squadrons, expanded hangar bays, and some concentrate fire tokens, which are cool. A lot of people have speculated that maybe this means that TIE Phantoms are going to be a little bit more viable because they haven't really been used very much. There's some arguments that they can be useful with the Sloan build, and I think they're more useful with a Sloan build, but they're still a little underwhelming. I like them. I think they're fun, but I don't think they're like super competitive, and I'm okay with that because I don't think everything needs to be super competitive. They could be a little more fun, perhaps, but it'd be kind of cool if there was some new mechanics that give you some new options with TIE Phantoms. That'd be kind of cool. The expanded hangar bay is a little underwhelming. People kind of want some of the cards that are harder to find. So things like Spinal Armament would be really, or any of those cards that like only comes in one expansion and it's specifically like for one faction. Those are the ones that people kind of want. I would love to see heavy ion emplacements also. Of course, that one won't come out for a while. But cards like that would, I think, be useful. Especially since this expansion's been out for a while. But I want to draw you guys' attention to something. Um, there have been, there has been a trend with FFG games to sometimes put out spoiler art for things that are going to be coming in the future to show up and be on maybe a background piece for a card that may come out now, and here's a picture of the card that's coming out in the future. We saw this, we've seen this in X-Wing an awful lot. It's not always true though, so sometimes it's just not going to happen. But considering that they do usually commission these art pieces, and there's usually some, there's some guidance on kind of what they want. Usually it can be a little vague as well. But in we saw that, gosh, what was it? In the recent Worlds stuff for Armada, there's a photograph of the Profundity, or a painting of the Profundity, and you have the Dornian cruiser, the Dornian gunship in the background, and that's, a lot of people thought, and I myself included, that means that we're getting Dornian gunships rather soon, the Brahatok class gunship, and I would actually, I would bet that they are coming very soon, that we may see them announced very soon. But that's not here. There's something else here, and it's in the background of the expanded hangar bay. And it's really not even in the background. It's kind of like the central focus, and it's this giant ship here. And at first glance, you might just think it was a Star Destroyer, an Imperial Star Destroyer. But look at this other Imperial Star Destroyer. That's in the foreground. This Imperial Star Destroyer right here is in the foreground. This thing is behind it and is 10 times larger than it. Well, maybe not 10 times, but like 5, 6 times larger than it. And this has gotten a lot of people to say, what is this? What is this? So there's a couple of things that it might be. There has been some speculation on Reddit that Reddit user Lewis Marty posted that it might be a Bellator class dreadnought, and it's certainly possible that that's going to kind of look like this. There's actually a lot of similarities between this and the Finalizer, the First Order's Star Destroyers. It's definitely different, but it's definitely possible. It is still generally Star Destroyer shaped and has this raised, kind of squared off top. And we compare that to its raised, squared off top right here on the front. Now this is stuff that hasn't really, that's still in in Legends as far as we know. There was definitely some scenes where they talk about dreadnoughts being built, but that is also a generic term. I think it was in Catalyst or Tarkin where they were referring to the, and this dreadnought was built in only a year because the Empire really ramped up production. So but they didn't say what type of ship that was, and I think at the time you were thinking, oh well, they're talking about the Executor, or the Executor, but this could is easily could fit that bill. It's not as big as the Executor, but this is one is about 7,200 meters, where the Executor's like, I want to say 1,500. Or 1900. The Executor is about 1900, and but somebody else thought it could be the Assertor class Star Dreadnought, and I think that's possible as well. And that one is about 15. So this is still smaller than the Executor, but both of them, it's a possibility. I'm leaning more towards the asserter at this point. You still have the raised and then squared off top, middle section, but look at this front section here. How it's kind of got this, you know, this particular symbol here, and I think that's important because if we look at here, we still see a symbol kind of like this in the front. Um, Although the top middle section looks a little bit more like a belator, but the asserter definitely could be it, and a lot of it depends. And they still have these, these dome on the bottom of both of them. But I think it could be either one. It all depends on this perspective, how far back it is, whether it's merely going to be like 4 times as big as an ISD or like 8 times as big as an ISD. Now, why would they do this? Is probably your first question. It was definitely my first question. I'm like, why would they do one of these dreadnoughts if not the Executor? The Executor is the most common. We don't have Piet yet, so that tells me that they're gonna do him right at some point. He's one of the most popular Imperial officers, and they haven't had him. They brought in all kinds of other obscure characters, and not even really that obscure, like Screed, for example, or whatever. You've got less popular characters than Piet. You could certainly argue that Tag or Mahdi are not as popular as Piet, but we have them. Jerjerrod, not as popular as Piet. They don't even say Jerjerrod's name, I don't believe, in the movies, but Piet is said multiple times. He's one of those people that's mentioned multiple times, and he gets promoted, so he's very popular. So, and he's, of course, in charge of the Executor. So, Executor. I keep going back and forth. It's Executor, but I always want to say Executor, but the Executor isn't actually a word. It's Executioner, but that's not, then you're getting into something totally different. So anyway, as I wander from this topic to another one, let me pull myself back to talking about this. So you're probably wondering, why would they do this and not the Executor? And I think it might be a matter of scale. Because a lot of people are complaining, I don't have a problem. If they want to do the Executor and just make it, slightly larger than the Raider is for X-Wing, maybe 14 inches long or whatever, that's fine. It will be, you have a sliding scale in Armada already, but some people argue that's just too much, too far gone. So then we come into, all right, well, what would be the next step? Because if they ever do a sequel trilogy stuff, I know they probably will at some point. There's no reason why not. We're getting more and more ships now. I don't think that will come until after Episode 9, though. Hopefully we'll get a big star battle. But at some point, we're going to do that Mandator 4 Dreadnought that was Captain Kennedy's, and that was huge, but that wasn't a Super Star Destroyer size. That was about half of Super Star Destroyer size, and you make a much easier case for putting something like that in Armada. It can still be absolutely huge, like way bigger than an ISD, but it won't be so far off topic that it's as absurd as people make arguments about with the Executor. So and this falls into that same category. So if it's a Bellator or Bellator, if it's a Bellator, I think you make a better case for having something like Super Star Destroyer and scale, while without having it totally off, because this is less. This is like almost like a third the size of the Executor. Executor. Gosh, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna lock it in, but it's. Yeah, my wife's like, you're having a hard time today. Yeah, I am. But so basically, yeah, so that's basically why I believe that if they're gonna do this, that might be why. Something similar happened in X-Wing a few years back. People were always, when they announced that they were making epic ships, they did the Tantive V4 and the GR75, and people were like, well, you got to do the Star Destroyer for the Empire, and people broke it down and said, look, a Star Destroyer will be just too big. It would be way too big for X-Wing, and people were, and this exact same argument went on for like a year, or maybe more than a year, probably I think about 2 years almost, and people went back and forth saying, that's okay, I still want it. So they decided, well, what can we do that would please both groups? The people who say a Star Destroyer is too big for X-Wing, but the people who want that Imperial epic ship, and they want that Star Destroyer look. So they actually got with Lucasfilm and designed the Imperial Raider, and that's kind of how the Imperial Raider was born, through the need for X-Wing. And I mean, there may have been more to it behind the scenes than that. Maybe Lucasfilm also wanted, was cool with designing new Imperial ships, and this was just the push to say, okay, fine, we'll do, this helps drive their decision making. But but they worked together with FFG on that, and that was really cool. Well, this could be another step in that direction. Obviously, they didn't. This won't be a ship that's designed specifically for Armada, but this will be a pull from Legends to fill that gap of like Superstar Destroyer territory or Dreadnought territory without, you know, stepping all over, people's, understanding of just how large the Executor is, or the Eclipse too, for that matter. I still want to see those as well, but maybe we need a different type of game for that. I don't want to really see, a Superstar Destroyer version of Armada where your Superstar Destroyers are this big, and then your Imperial Star Destroyers are itty bitty tiny. Like then you won't be able to have any of the small ships, and basically you can't have a rebellion at that point because they would like be, you just drop some salt on your playmat and say each one of those grains of salt is an Imperial or is a rebel ship. It's just your scale is too far gone at that point. So I'm in the camp of saying yes, let's do Superstar Destroyers. Let's just scale them down as much as we can. Even if they're stationary, they don't even have to move. You can have it just take up like a whole side of the board and just make it to where they don't move. And that works on a multiple levels. You can have a campaign style thing with that where it's like under construction, and then the next part is like partially operational, and then the last one is nearly fully operational but still doesn't move for the part, and so you can have it get harder and harder and increase the points you give to the rebels on the other side, and you can end up with like a 1,000-point game, where it's like one Superstar Destroyer, and then maybe the Imperials have like an extra 120 points that they can put some other ships, like maybe one or maybe 150 points plus the Superstar Destroyer for like your versus an 800-point Rebel game. Something maybe like that. I'm not sure, but I don't know how they're going to do it. But if this is actually a preview of things to come, it's either the Assertor or the Bellador, and I think it's going to be the Bellador because if they're going to go with the Assertor, that's almost the same size as the Executor, so it would just make why would you do the Assertor instead of the Executor, unless you just plan on just going full blown lots and lots of ships. But on the other hand, maybe this is nothing. Maybe it has nothing to do with Armada. Maybe they just borrowed this artwork. Maybe this is for like another expansion for Rebellion, or another game altogether. Because something like this would fit easy into Rebellion because you have all different scales, and scale doesn't really matter in that game. You've got Super Star Destroyers, you've got Death Stars, multiple Death Stars in Rebellion, as well as individual troops. So the scale isn't really as important in that game. But I'd like to hear what you guys think. There is still another round of the giveaway. Winner for that will be coming out very, very soon, so stay tuned for that, and that'll probably be announced later this week, and that's for an expansion of your choice in the form of a $20 Cool Stuff gift card. So definitely stay tuned for that. It's going to be exciting. So yeah, only thing you need to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that, folks. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and let me know what you think in the comments below. If you are a subscriber, don't forget to click the bell for alerts, the bell over that way, for alerts so you can stay up to speed with all the latest stuff. There is Gamma going on right now, so big trade show, and there's going to be possibly some news come out of FFG this week, so exciting stuff. They've already dropped some more Legion stuff, which we'll kind of wait and see all the new Legion stuff we get talked about, and I'll probably be coming to you very soon with another Legion video, so lots of cool stuff. Next week, Legion is launching. So, and also check out my recent Armada battle reports. We just did an 800-point battle report this weekend, so that went up yesterday. So thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.